right. All right, ladies. So lie on back. As always, bend your knees if the low back is a little uncomfortable. Put something underneath your knees. You want your legs a little bit straighter, but still want some of that support. And you can straighten the legs if your back is feeling really good today. My back's yelling at me a little bit today. I'm going to keep my knees nice and bent. Then your arms are just going to drop by your sides. Palms are going to face up. And when you're ready, let your eyes very gently close, and we will begin with those 3 sighs. Breathing in through the nose, open the mouth, give a nice deep sigh out through the mouth. And then after you take those 3 sighs, you're just letting the breath move in and out through the nose. And I say that, but I will also say that at any point in time during class, if your body is telling you it wants to sigh and just get this big release, right, do that. Allow the body to release, sigh it out, and then you return back to nostril breathing. And speaking of nostril breathing, pay attention right now to notice which nostril is more dominant in your nasal cycle. So it's very subtle, but you'll notice on the inhalation that one nostril is taking in more breath, more air than the other one is. And you just observe that. And before we get moving here in just a moment, I'm actually going to do something a little different today. And right, we're all at home, right? So there's a myriad of different distractions everywhere around us. I want you to take a moment to just pay attention to those distractions. Like notice them. Notice the different sounds. Notice if there's any specific aromas. Notice what your body's touching, whether it be clothes or a mat or floor, carpet. Notice the temperature of the skin that is exposed and how that might feel different from the skin that is covered. And then come to your breath. Start to follow your breath with your mind's eye from the nostrils down the throat into the lungs, and then out of the lungs and up the throat and out the nostrils. You'd like to set any type of an intention for the practice today or for your day in general, you can do that. And then we'll get started with our moving. I usually start class with movements where you can keep your eyes closed if you like, if that feels better, or if you'd like to open your eyes, you can. But if your knees are not bent with the feet on the floor, go ahead and do that right now. Bend your knees, place your feet on the floor, hip distance apart. And we're just going to work on a little bit of pelvic tilts this morning. Okay. So you can pretend that your belly button is 12 o'clock on a clock, your pubic bone is 6 o'clock on a clock, and you're just going to rock a little bit forward and back between the belly button and the pubic bone, right? You can also think about this originating in the tailbone. Maybe you press the tailbone down as the low back arches away from the mat. And then you can lift the tailbone up as the low back presses down into the mat. And this is extremely slow, very, very slow. So you're loosening the low back. But what I want you to focus on, we're working a lot on our core today, is when that tailbone lifts, when you're drawing towards 12 o'clock, I want you to focus on those lower abdominals cinching in towards the midline and down towards the floor. And then that tailbone drops down, the low back arches a little bit. Then you do that again. The tailbone will lift up and you're going to cinch those abdominal muscles in towards the midline, down towards the floor. If you want to incorporate breath with this, because we're going to be doing it a little bit longer, you can inhale as the back is arching, right, opening up. And you can exhale as you're engaging those abdominals and drawing the low back down towards the floor. Very nice. Now just bring yourself into neutral, right? So you're not drawing towards 6 o'clock or 12 o'clock, but now you're going to become aware of those bony points in the side of the pelvis, the hip points. And one point is going to be 3 o'clock, one point is going to be 9 o'clock, and you're just going to drop 3 o'clock down towards the floor, right? The other hip might lift up a little, the knee's going to move on the other side, that's fine. Then you're going to roll it back through center, engaging those abdominals, and then drop 9 o'clock towards the floor. Right. So the whole time you're coming through the center, the tailbone's lifting up towards the ceiling. So you have a little roundness in that low back. It's almost like a really slow modified traction twist when we do those windshield wipers. But you're just going back and forth between 3 o'clock, between 9 o'clock. And again, I say this, do this really slow because you're focusing on the musculature of the core right now. You want to feel what part of the core is working. And then you're going to bring yourself back into center and then come into neutral, right? So again, you're not pressing to any of the 4 points. And we're going to do pelvic clocks now. So you're going to move from 12 o'clock, right? The low back presses down, the abdominals engage. Then just kind of roll to 3 o'clock. Go to 6 o'clock, arch the low back, tailbone presses down. Go to 9 o'clock, start to round that back again, and then into 12, where the abdominals are fully engaged. Okay. So moving around 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock is when those abdominals are fully engaged. And as you kind of get the hang of this, you're going to try to smoothen that circle out. Make it as smooth as possible. Right? The knees are going to move a little bit. That's totally fine. And so the next time you make it to 12 o'clock, those abdominals are fully engaged, you're just going to reverse the circle and you're going to go counterclockwise. So 12 o'clock to 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock to 3 o'clock, back to 12, fully engaged in the abdominals at 12, and then slowly letting that loosen up. Get down to 6, and then slowly tightening it back up as you come towards 12. Let's do one more circle counterclockwise here. And then again, of course, you'll just kind of come back to neutral. So your left leg's going to stay bent here, and you're going to make slow circles with your right leg, but they're not circles going out to the side. Okay, so I want you just to straighten your right leg. You can run it along your mat, and then you're going to bend your right knee, point the toes, draw it in towards the chest, and then allow it to straighten back along the mat. Right? You just keep doing this. It's kind of like doing little bicycles, but on one side. And again, I don't want you to rush through this. A lot of what we're doing today is pretty slow because I want you to feel the parts of your body that are working, right? I find that a big reason why a lot of people have poor posture, have back pain, is because when we're standing, we're not using our legs, which, I preach about a lot, but also because our core is really weak. So let's go ahead and do one more of these very slow circles, going straight with the leg and then drawing into the chest. And then you're going to place that right foot down. And of course, we're going to go to the other side. So straighten your left leg. You're going to point your toes as you draw that left knee in towards the chest. And then you're just going to let that left leg straighten again. And the movement is slow as the knee is bending into the chest. You're giving a little gentle squeeze. Feel those side abdominals starting to engage, the obliques, little side of the rectus. Let's do one more. And then you'll place that left foot down and bring your feet a little wider, about as wide as your mat. We're going to go into those traction twists, windshield wipers. So you're just dropping your knees to one side and then bringing it back up to center, dropping the knees to the other side. Release through that low back. If you want that additional stretch in the front of the thigh and the hip, push that top knee away from the body. curl the tailbone towards 6 o'clock, and then come back to center. Again, getting that stretch in the front of the thigh if you want. Top knee pulls away from the body. Curl the tailbone towards 6 o'clock. Bring it back up to center. Great. Next time you come back up, of course, you will stay there. All righty. So bring your feet back hip distance apart. And we're going to do what is referred to as dead bug. Great name. So you are going to basically come into kind of like a tabletop on your back. So you want to bend your knees and your shins are parallel to the floor. And then your arms are going to lift straight up, like your fingertips are going to touch the ceiling. Okay. So engage those lower abdominals, like we worked on when we were doing the pelvic tilts, as if you're drawing towards 12 o'clock, right? So the low back presses down, right? We're just going to do the arms first. So you're going to reach your right arm up over your head. Maybe the thumb touches the floor, maybe it doesn't. And then you're going to bring it back up. And then you're going to go to the other side, the other arm. Okay, what you're looking for as we're doing this is that core stays engaged, right? A lot of times what happens is we lose that connection of the low back pressing into the mat as those arms come overhead. And then we're not strengthening our core, we're actually straining our low back. Opposite of what we want, right? All right, so you're going to come back to that starting position. Now, that's going to be your modification if this next portion is too much for you. All right, so I want you to reach your right arm overhead, but at the same time, straighten your left leg. All right, so almost like a spinal balance on your back. And then you're going to bring it back to starting position. And then you'll go to the other side. The right leg straightens as that left arm reaches up over your head. And then you bring it back to starting position. And the reason we worked a lot on those pelvic motions in the beginning is because I want you to notice, are you starting to arch the low back at all? And if you are, you just don't go as deep into the position and you find a lot of activation in those lower abdominals, all around the belly buttons, pressing towards the center, down towards the floor. And so now that I'm thinking about it, if we're ever in tabletop and we come into spinal balance, right, when you're on your wrist and your wrists are just not feeling it, you can always, as an alternative, come onto your back and do the movements just like we're doing right now. This is spinal balance on your back. So that's an option for you. All right, we're going to do one more each side. After one more each side, hug those knees into the chest, rock it side to side. Very nice. Place the feet back on the floor, knees still bent, arms by your sides. This time you can place your palms facing down. And we're just going to do this like slow marching, okay? So you're going to draw that right leg up, bring it in towards the chest, bring the foot down, Go to the other side. Left knee draws up. Bring it into the chest. Bring it back down. And this is usually enough for most people, but I will say that if you feel like you want a little more of a challenge here, then you can do this with both knees together and lifting them at the same time. I will say make sure that your low back does not arch. Glue the low back towards the floor. So if you are going to do both legs, I would bring your arms out to the side like a T, and then you draw both knees in, squeeze it in, and then you let those toes tap towards the floor, and then you bring those knees back up. You might try it and think, that's good. You might try it and think, I want to go back to marching. There's no right, there's no wrong. Always remember that. Good. Let's do, if you're doing unilateral, so one leg at a time, let's do one more on each side. And then you'll place both feet on the floor. We'll do one last thing on our back here. And then we will roll like a ball to sit. So feet are hip distance apart. Your arms this time are going to be down by your sides. Okay, pinkies on the mat. And you're just going to lift your head. You can keep your shoulders down. You're going to lift your head. You're going to look towards your thighs, maybe towards the abdomen. And you're going to reach your right hand towards your right heel. It might touch, it might not. And then you're going to bring yourself back to center, and then you're going to go to the other side. Left hand towards the left foot. If that feels like too much, right, you're going to put your head down. And you can do this with your head on the floor, right? You're still working that side part of the core. So this isn't just abs here, but you're getting into your back, the side part of the back. Think of your lats, a little around the shoulder blades. They're giving you that nice, strong posture. Beautiful. Bring yourself back to center. Hug those knees in again. We're going to roll like a ball all the way up to sit. If you don't want to roll like a ball, just roll to your side and sit up. But if you're rolling like a ball, I like to grab behind my thighs, bend the knees into the chest, and you just start to kind of roll forward and back. If you want a little bit more challenge, when you come up, you want to try not to let your toes touch the floor, touch the mat. And that involves some core control. If you're rolling, let's do one more roll, then we'll all meet together sitting. Very nice. Always grab water if you want. Most of what we're doing today is on the floor, so ugh. I had coffee in there and I finished my coffee and I thought I rinsed it out good, but I have coffee flavored water. Wasn't expecting that. All right, so you're gonna sit cross-legged, of course. Beautiful. All right, so we're gonna do cat-cow actually seated. I do want to do some things in tabletop. So if I can get you off of your wrists and do some things seated and on your back and not be in tabletop quite so long, let's do it, right? So you can do cat-cow seated. You're gonna round the back, right? Think of tailbone coming forward. You're moving towards that 12 o'clock. So those abs are engaged. You round the back, you let that head drop. Then you move the pelvis towards that 6 o'clock position. You arch the back. And then you look up. As always, if looking up doesn't feel good, look forward. So what's nice about cat-cow when we're doing a lot of pelvic tilt work, core work, is you can really feel how just by moving your pelvis a little bit changes the foundation for the whole spine. Very good. And then you're just going to come back to finding your neutral. Very nice. And then you'll take your kind of barrel rolls here, right? We do this a lot on our hands and knees, where we just roll the torso any way that feels good. And reverse the circle, bring it the other way. So one thing I'll also note is, sometimes when we sit down, we find that our knees come up really high away from the floor. And if that's ever uncomfortable for you, if it's uncomfortable for your hips or your knees, you're going to sit up on something. You're going to lift your hips up a little bit so that the hip points are about the level of your knees. So just know that's a little modification that you can always add. Very good. Bring yourself back to center and switch the crossing of your legs. Different leg is in front. Lovely. All right. So we are dynamically going to move from a forward fold into kind of an overhead extension. I'll do it sideways so you can see a little bit better. So I want to keep my glutes really grounded down to the floor here. I'll start on an inhalation. I'm going to reach my arms up really high. As I exhale, I'm just going to forward fold. My hands touch the floor. I'm going to let my head drop. And then I'm going to inhale and I'm going to lift back up. Okay. Now, when you're lifting up, what I'm looking for, so when you come down, you can round your back, certainly. But as you're lifting up, you're going to try to keep your torso nice and straight. So you're engaging the muscles of the back, of the shoulders. Good. Let's do one more, just one more here. And then you'll take those arms down by your sides. Good. We'll get a little twist in here. So inhale, reach the arms up again. You're going to exhale. You're going to twist to the right. Right hand's coming behind you. Left hand's grabbing that right knee. Play around a little bit with the positioning of your pelvis. Right? If you find yourself really rounded, draw that pubic bone down. Try to lift through the chest. Beautiful. Bring yourself back to center on an exhale. Love it. On an inhale, reach up. On an exhale, of course, twist to the other side. Right, same thing can happen here. If you need to have your hips propped up on something, when you come into these twists, you just want to maybe have something for your back hand to fall onto. That's also lifted. Awesome. Exhale, bring yourself back to center. Inhale, reach the arms. And exhale, take it to the heart. Beautiful. All righty. So we're coming onto our hands and knees briefly. And we'll take some little breaks in between in child's pose. So that's a lot of times why I do child's pose so many times when we're on tabletop. And we are coming into kind of a modified spinal balance. So in this position, if you are not on your fists, which is an option for you, then you're going to spread your fingertips as wide as you possibly can and then press down through the fingertips and also press down through like where the fingers connect to the hand, that part of the palm of your hand. So you want to spread out the weight really evenly. And then you're going to reach your right leg behind you, flex the foot, lift the right leg up into the air. Very good. And now reach your left arm out in front of you. So this is that spinal balance position I was referring to earlier. So in the future, if we do this in class, you want to do it on your back. Do it on your back. Good. You're going to take your left hand back down onto the mat. Keep the right leg lifted. Point the right toes. And as you exhale dynamically, you're going to bend your right knee, draw it towards your right shoulder, maybe the tricep. And then you're going to straighten that leg behind you again. So you exhale, you squeeze the knee towards that right shoulder. You inhale and you lengthen. Good. We'll do one more just like this. Then you'll bring that right knee down, come into a child's pose. So big toes touch, bring those knees pretty wide, and then just rest your forehead on the mat. Arms are going to reach out in front. Just let them relax. Take some really deep sighs here if you like. You can roll your wrists in circles if you like. Beautiful. Bring yourself back up into tabletop. We're just going to do that on the other side now. So getting a little bit of that side body challenge. Spread the fingertips wide. Press down through all the pads of the hands. Good. Take your left leg behind you. Then lift the left leg up. And coming into that spinal balance, right arm reaches out in front of you. Right. So if it feels better for you, just do the leg or just do the arm. That's totally fine. Good. Take that right arm down and point the left toes as you exhale. Bring the left knee towards that left shoulder, maybe the left tricep, and then straighten that left leg behind you. And last one here. And then you're going to bring it back down into that child's pose. This time we're going to walk our hands over to the right, getting that nice side body stretch on the left side. Let the head drop. Good. Bring yourself back to center. Walk on over to the left side. So now getting that side body stretch on the right. Let the head drop. Breathe slow, breathe deep. Awesome. Bring yourself back to center. From here, make your way up to stand. So you can just come to stand. If you want to do it through downward facing dog, you can. You would come forward, just come into a quick plank. Lift your hips up and back. Let the head drop. And then you would walk your feet forward towards your hands. And slowly let yourself roll all the way back to stand. Or back, or not back to stand. We haven't been here yet. Up to stand. Beautiful. We're going to do a couple sun salutations, just the half sun salutations here, and a little balance. All right. So, of course, if you need water, grab your water. You're going to look down at your toes. Right? You have an imaginary line. Good. One foot's not further in front of the other foot. Awesome. All right, let's do a couple half sun salutations. So inhale, reach those arms nice and high. Exhale, forward fold, let the head drop, let the back round. On an inhale, place your hands on your legs, come up to a nice flat back. As you exhale, round the back again, let the head drop. Inhale, reverse swan dive. So you reach the arms out to the side, come up with a nice straight torso, arms above the head. And then exhale, take it back to the heart. Great. We'll do a couple of those. Inhale, reach. Keep the legs really strong. Exhale, fold. Strong legs. Press through the feet. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Press the feet down to come up. Exhale, take it to the heart. Good. Few more. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Flat back. Good. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise and shine. Arms reach up above the head. And take to the heart. Good. We're going to add a little side stretch onto this. So inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Stay in the fold. Take your right hand, place it on the outside of your left leg. Maybe you look behind you. So you're just getting, it's a very gentle stretch on that right side of the body. Maybe you take your left hand to your hip and you twist a little bit in this. Good. Bring yourself back to center, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Take your left hand to the outside of that right leg. Maybe you kind of look behind you. Maybe you want a little bit deeper. Bring it into a gentle twist. Take your right hand onto your right hip. You can twist if you like. Awesome. Bring yourself back to center. Let the back round. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise and shine. Bring it all the way up above the head. Beautiful. Exhale, take it to the heart. All right. Inhale, reach. Grab that right wrist, standing half moon. So the hips move out to the right. The arms move over to the left. If it's too much stretch, remember, bring your hands further in front of your face. And that way it won't be as much stretch in this space right here. Good. Bring it back up to center. Go to the other side. Grab that left wrist, left hips, or hips reach to the left, and arms reach to the right. Again, just kind of assess where you want those arms to be. Good. Bring yourself all the way back up to center. Release the arms. Love it. And we are going to come into our balance now. So it's trying to explain how to describe it. I'm just going to show you. It's going to be way easier to just show you, I think. All right. So you're going to start with your right leg. You're going to bend your right knee, right? Toes are on the floor. Look at something that's not moving. If you want to lift your right leg up, you're going to flex your right foot. You can grab underneath that right thigh if you like. And then if you want to add a little bit more, you're going to reach your left arm out to the side. So if the right leg is lifted, the left arm is reaching out to the side. That's your counterbalance. Breath is slow, breath is deep. Awesome, very nice. And then you just slowly release that down. Love it. We'll go to the other side. So you can start. Left toes on the floor, left knee's bent, right leg is strong. You might lift that leg. If you do, you're going to flex your left foot. And then you're going to grab perhaps behind your left thigh. Okay, if you want a little bit more, you can reach that right arm out to the side. Right, if you're wobbly and you fall out, you just come back in. That's fine. Wobbly is actually good sometimes. It shows that you're training those muscles, those intrinsic small little muscles. Beautiful. Bring yourself all the way back to center. Love it. Bring the feet nice and wide here. A couple hip circles. Right. See how much space you can take up with the hip circles. You take up a lot of space. Awesome. Reverse the circle, of course. Other direction. Beautiful. All right. From here, we are coming back onto our back, actually. Little cool down, deep stretch. Told you most of the class today was on the floor. But we did get up for a moment. All right. Go ahead and roll yourself down onto your back. You guessed it. Your knees are going to be bent. Feet are going to be hip distance apart. And you're just going to place your arms down by your sides. The palms are facing the floor, the mat. So anytime that you do a lot of core work, anytime you do any kind of work, really, you want to do what's called counterbalance the body. And so we did a lot of core work, a lot of forward folding. So the way that you counterbalance is you do the opposite action to bring the body back into balance. So we'll do some of those kind of dynamic bridge poses or hip lifts. I want you to press your feet down a lot, right? Before you even do anything, just press your feet down and notice how that automatically engages the legs and it makes your hips feel a little bit lighter. They're not on the floor quite as heavy. And then you're also going to press your hands and your shoulders down, right? So we're not even lifting the hips yet. The feet are pressing down, the shoulders and the arms are pressing down. Keep pressing down, curl your tailbone towards the ceiling, right? So you're kind of in that flexed position. And then you're going to lift the hips up. Keep pressing through the shoulders, keep pressing through the feet. Maybe stay there a breath or two. And then you're going to roll yourself back down. Right? One vertebra at a time, imprinting onto the mat. And then you'll do it again. Press the feet and shoulders down, roll up, stay at the top, maybe a breath or two. And then you just roll yourself back down. And we're going to do that one more time. So shoulders press, arms press, feet press, everything at the torso gets light. And you press so much that you start to lift the hips up. Again, perhaps you stay a breath or two. And when you're ready, you roll it all the way back down. I'm coming into a spinal twist now. Left leg straightens, right knee's bending into the chest. Right, grab the knee with the left hand, right arm out to the side. Exhale, twist. Try to keep that right shoulder grounded onto the floor here. This is an excellent twist to end classes with. I know I end most of the classes on the floor with this twist. But it's also a great way to counterbalance the body, the spine. Awesome. Come back to center. Reposition those hips back in the center. Straighten the right leg. Bring that left knee in. Right, just twisting now. Other side. Left arm's going to reach out and twist. Remember the big alignment cue of making sure that your left shoulder, the opposite, I guess it's the same shoulder as the leg that's going across the body, but that left shoulder is staying grounded. You don't want it to lift, otherwise it makes the spine kind of wonky position. You don't want wonky. Beautiful. Bring yourself back up to center. Hug the knees into the chest one more time. And then you'll make your way into your Shavasana. So again, traditional Shavasana, legs are straight, everything's relaxed, arms are by your side, palms are facing up. You want a little support under the knees. You can put support underneath the knees, releases some pressure on the low back. Or you can have your knees bent. Since it's Shavasana, you can do constructive rest pose if you need this. So the feet are pretty wide, maybe a little wider than hip distance, and your knees drop in and rest on each other. So I'm going to demonstrate that because, like I said, my back is not happy with me today. So this is the best option for me in this moment. If your back feels fine, go ahead and straighten those legs out. We'll be here about 3 minutes. Of course, I will let you know when that 3 minutes is up, but if you'd like to stay, stay. When you're ready, if that's at this time, slowly start to bring some gentle movement back to the body. If you want to stay and relax longer, stay. And eventually, you'll bring yourself to your side and up to a sitting position that's comfortable for you. Awesome. Thank you guys for joining me today. Thank you for showing up for yourself, filling up your cup, my cup. Enjoy the beautiful weather outside if you can. It is gorgeous today. Peaceful thoughts, peaceful words, peaceful intentions. Namaste. Much love and peace. Yes. Love you, ladies. I hope you have a great day. It was great to see you guys. Enjoy your class tonight, Arnell. Bye.